Hi and welcome to Talking Knits. I am Jessica, and if you have seen my previous two videos, you would know that I actually changed the name. I named it last time. I was in a bit of a rush and I didn't know what to call it, so I just went with Knits with Jess, and it didn't really feel, I didn't really like it. So I changed it, and love a good pun, so here we are, Talking Knits. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to set out my intentions for the year 2025 and show you what I've been working on. It's been a very hot summer here in Auckland, New Zealand, and so even though I've sort of been working away on a lot of knitting, I've sort of been chopping and changing a little bit too as things sort of got a bit warmer. So I haven't really finished much, but I do have one finished object, so yay. I'm obviously not wearing anything. Wait, I am wearing something. I'm not wearing any knits today, just to clarify that. And so I'll just talk about my first finished object. It's not blocked, but I don't think that matters. So let's just have a look. Let's just have a chat about it. So this, hopefully you can see this. This is my, oh, why does the name go blank as soon as I pick something up? Choo! This is the Free Your Fade shawl by Andra and Mowry. And it's just a really simple, you cut, excuse whatever that is, bits of cotton. You just cast on at one end and then work garter stitch, and then it has these little eyelet rows, and the eyelets are sort of two different sizes, and then you fade in a second colour and then fade in a third colour. I love the fade between these two, so that looks really cool in my opinion, like really nice cohesive fade. But I don't like, well, that's the wrong side, helpful Jess. I don't like the fade between those two, so I kind of, I don't know, as I cast on and I started working with it, you know when you get something, I don't have the ball here, but you know when you get a yarn and it's in the skein and it's wound up nicely and you go, oh wow, that's going to be really good, and in your head you kind of think, oh, you know, it's got blues and or purples in it and it's going to be really nice, but then I didn't really think about the amount of undyed parts that were in it. So not my favourite. And last time I knit with a skein that was essentially the same as this, it had this exact same purpley blue colour, and then it had speckles of rainbow. And I did a pattern, it was a shawl pattern, it's one skein shawl pattern by Locatelli. It's the one with all like, you drop the stitches, and so I think it's got eyelets and then it's got drop stitch rows as well. And sort of, it's a crescent shape, so similar, but this obviously is just knit and increased all the way out, and then at the end you have this cute little picot row. Anyway, the point was that I knit that and decided that I really didn't like it, so I just gave it to my mum, which is fine. I'm happy for her to have it, but I would rather I would rather not knit something and get halfway through and just absolutely hate the skein that I'm knitting with, which is what happened. So yeah, this year this has been my only finished knit, so that is it there. It's quite a wearable shape. Was it my favorite thing to knit? No. Was it quite boring? Yeah, it was. It slip stitch edging, garter rows. I don't know, I don't mind mindlessly going round and round and round in stockinette stitch, but for some, and which is, you know, when you're knitting in the round, it's essentially the same thing, but for some reason, doing this, I had to really push myself, and I really wanted to finish it, which I guess, let's talk about my intentions for 2025, because you'll understand if I talk about my intention for 2025, why I wanted to get this done. So 2025 is my year of the Stashdown. Stashdown 2025. My big goal is to use up or use a lot of stash yarn, because last year I was kind of a little bit purchase happy and acquisition heavy. So I was buying stuff that I really had no plan for, that included a lot of single skeins, sock yarn. I mean, most of my stash is 4-ply, and I was just going off oh, I like it. Oh, it's pretty, so I'm going to buy it, with no intention of what to do with it. And there was no patterns that I sort of had committed to. And then now I'm looking at patterns and I'm going, well, that's really nice, but I've got all this yarn, and if I don't use this yarn, it's going to sit there forever more, and then I'm going to buy more. And this year, not really in a position to be buying a lot of yarn. So out of needs, I really have to use up what I've got. So that's the big intention. And in terms of patterns, I'm trying not to purchase too many patterns either. And you'll see that, like, I'm going to try and knit mostly free patterns or patterns that I've already got in my Ravelry library. So if that interests you and you want to see what I'm doing with my leftovers, my scraps, my unique one-off skeins of yarn, then this is probably the podcast for you, and you stick around. And if you want to, I've joined a Instagram group. It's not my group, but they are doing, it's just a collective of us who are just all stashing down for 2025. I'll drop the handle of the 2 people that have set it up below, so you'll be able to find that in the show notes. And yeah, if anyone else is interested in stashing down this year for 2025, I think get into it, get amongst it, get involved, because it's been quite good, and it's quite inspiring to see what other people are doing. So yeah, let's move on. I'm gonna try and keep these podcasts very short. When I say short, I mean, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes tops, because I know when I watch stuff, I really only got sort of a half an hour here, 15 minutes there, and if I can break it down into like half an hour or 15-minute watch times, that works for me. You know, you might be picking the kids up from school and you have to wait in your car for 15 minutes, and you just pop something on, and then it breaks it down quite nicely. So I'll just crack into what I've been working on, have a bit of a chat. I'll let you know the details of things. I thought I would share this as one of my get rid of stash projects. All it is a crochet project, little 3-row granny squares, and they're turning into a bit of a rainbow. So we have a store called Spotlight. I know it's an Australian store, so if you're Australian or a New Zealander, you know what that is, but if anyone else, we have a store called Spotlight. It's a big box store, and they sell things called mill ends, and you just buy a bag, and I think there's about 400 grams of yarn in it. This is just an acrylic, and it's a color changing yarn. In the middle you'll see there's some purple, and I have another one that is like reds into purple. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing these 3-row granny squares, and then I will join them together with maybe like a white or a black. And to be honest, I'm just doing this to use up stash for no other reason. It's sitting there. I'm never going to turn this into a wearable item. But I would never wear this. So my kids will probably sit on the couch with this. They love a good blanket, and at the end of the day I don't really care if they get it dirty, spill stuff on it. I can just chuck it in the wash. It's acrylic. So that's one thing I've been working on. I just pick that up every now and again. It's just a basic granny square, and it's worked on a 6.5mm hook, and it is probably about a bulky weight. There's no details with the yarn, they just in a bag, so I don't actually have the details. While we're on crochet, let's stick with crochet, and I will talk to you about my next project I have been working on, and this has just been living on my table, so it's full of hairs from the kids and stuff. It's quite gross, but let me just take my hook out and show you this in all its glory. This is a granny triangle shawl, scrappy, and I'm just using up any mini skeins or leftover sock yarn that I have. So I have acquired a large stash of minis, and be it from, like, I'll buy a sock set and I won't use the mini, or not last year but the year before, I ended up with 3 advent calendars, and it was a little excessive, and one of them was a random one where it didn't have a theme or anything. It was just random skeins, mini skeins. So that was quite nice actually. And so I have just, no particular order. This one here, which I started it with, is actually from my finished object over here. So I just popped that in there, and then most of these are on the pink or purple sort of side. I've got some grey with some stellina in there, and I am using a 3.5mm hook and just holding it single. This was inspired by Shayla from, I always get the first part of, I forget the first part of the name of the podcast. Unicorns, Rose, I've got some, Charm City Unicorns, and it's Shayla from Black Pearl Magic. She made one of these, or she made the lay triangle by Aimee from Aimee, and I'm not using a pattern. So I've gone, well, it's a granny, essentially a half granny square. I know how to crochet a granny square, therefore I'll do my own thing, and then when it comes to the edge, I will put a border on it of some sort. And whether I go with something similar to what's on the lay triangle, or I just go with something I make up, or I'll just search borders. But yeah, it's not big enough yet. I don't know how many rows more I'll go. I don't know how much I've used, but I do want it to be sort of, you know, like, I don't know, wrap around my neck, or when I'm sitting on the couch, sort of drape over my shoulders. So probably, I mean, at least, what, another 15 centimeters, I'd say. But I'm loving it. This is when I've had enough of knitting for the day, or I'm going in the car and I just grab a handful of minis, chuck them in my bag, and then I just pull this out. Sort of keeps me going. I don't get bored because I'm changing colours. I'm not following any sort of order in my colours. I'm just going with whatever I sort of pick up. And most of them are sock yarns or a single. This is a single I got, and this particular single comes from Cake Wool. It's American dyer, but I thought I'd used it in something. Actually, if you go back to my first episode, I think this is what I used in the test knit I did for Laura Penrose. So that's where that's come from. So just leftovers for that one. Yeah, but that's what's bringing me joy at the moment. I'm really loving it. I really love the colour. So yeah, my next focus, it has been what I've been working on probably the most and most diligently is because it's a test knit. It's not a secret test knit, so I can share it with you. This is half, because I haven't finished the other half yet, nor have I started the other half. This is the back half, and nor have I woven in those ends. This is the back half of the summer tea that is coming out in the John Arbon publication, and all of the patterns in that publication are going to be seaside themed. And so the original or the inspiration that the designer has put up has either a 2-colour stripe, or they've gone with like multicolour stripes along it. Well, I just decided that I wanted something that wasn't just the 2-colour stripe, but I wanted something with a pop of interest in it, and so I've used a pink and a yellow in there. I don't know what's going on, but for some reason, and this is my cast on edge, this bit is longer than this is my cast off than this side. So when I block it, I'm going to have to like pull it into shape quite a lot, I think. Anyway, it's knit sideways. So you cast on at the sleeve, and it's just a little garter, garter sleeve, and then you are changing every 2 rows, you're changing colour. And initially I was cutting each colour separate. Initially I was cutting each colour after every row, but then when I was using the blue, I ended up carrying it along because you don't really see it. So I'll see if that turned out to be a good decision. So essentially I'm going to make another one exactly the same. The neck is deeper, so you cast off more stitches here and make a deeper neck, and then you obviously sew it together, and then you do the neck separately. So that has been knit in Rebel Light, I believe is the, oh sorry, Little Bandit. And it is a 5-ply, 100% machine washable wool. So it feels a little rustic, but then you can also feel that it's got that machine washable feel to it as well. Like it's not really toothy, but it does feel, it's not as soft as merino is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And it is yeah, it does feel woolly, but without being something like a Highland wool or a Finnish wool or something like that. It's not that toothy. It's discontinued. So when they were selling out of it, I bought 4 packets of 10 in these 4 colours for another project that I'm doing or want to do, and I haven't brought anything. So I haven't brought the pattern for it or anything, and I sometimes forget what the name is and have to go back through my Instagram to see what I've saved and what the name of things are. So just gonna have a drink. Excuse me. I don't have a table here. Rocky mistake, I should probably get one. Next up, so every episode is not going to be like this. I'm not going to go through hundreds and hundreds of WIPs. This is just what I've actively been working on at the moment, and I'm really hoping to get some of these things finished off, because you'll see some of them are so close, and instead of finishing them, I end up just starting something new, and it's a problem. So let's go with this one. This is my Lace and Fade Boxy by Locatelli, and you'll see, almost done. So one sleeve, I've still got a sleeve to do, and I've got to pick up stitches and put a neck line. What am I saying? Neckband. I have to put a neckband on it, pick up stitches for the sleeve and put the sleeve on it. I decided I didn't want to do any ribbing or anything on the sleeve. I can't remember what the pattern calls for, but I just decided to bind off and let it roll naturally. The sleeve ended up being it is quite firm on my arm, and I didn't do a fade. Obviously that's not a fade. This is knit in Malabrigo, and it is, oh gosh, Petite, I think. It says single ply, and then instead of, this is meant to be a mohair in the lace panel, and instead of mohair I use their silk packer, and that's just how single, they're both single. So in terms of how it's going to wear, it may not have been the correct choice, but this has been on my needles for probably 2 years now, and I just really need to finish it. I'm really happy with it. It looks really nice on. It's probably a little bit more cropped than it was intended in the pattern, but I'm okay with that. So it reminds me of a t-shirt that I used to have probably about 12 years ago when I first met my husband, and yeah, anyway, I really want the finished product, and I just don't know why I don't finish it. Why don't I finish it? So there's a bit of a blue theme going on, isn't there? So much blue, 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 and purple. The next thing that I worked on very solidly in the middle of a very hot summer, for some unknown reason, was an instant crush. Here we are. And I did not gauge swatch for this. I normally hit Hohi's gauge without too much changes, like without too many changes. So I wasn't sort of worried, except I was knitting this and I got to, you can see a change in gauge. So I got to here, which sort of the upper bust, where I was splitting for sleeves, and I just thought, if I don't go up a size, or if I don't increase, this is not going to fit. I could see that it was, that the gauge was too tight, but I had tried it on and I knew that it was fitting across this part. It just wasn't going to fit the rest of my body. And so I put it in the naughty corner for a while, and then I looked at it and thought, well, I could switch to the next size up, plus go up a needle size. And I know, I mean, I'm changing two things at once, right? So that could be sort of disastrous. I'm going to go from size 3, I think I was knitting, to size 4, and then I'm also going to go up a needle size. So I am now on a 4.5 millimeter needle, but it worked out that up until that point the charts were exactly the same for the two sizes, and so I didn't really have to change anything, and I could just add a few additional rows and then stop at the point of where the size 4 finished rather than where the size 3 finished. I think that's what it was. And so then I got a much looser gauge, and I don't know, you probably can't see, no, I probably can't see the difference between the gauges, but it is a lot more open now, so I'm a lot happier with that. But I did kind of stop working on it because at the end of January, because it was just so hot, and I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to wear this probably for here in Auckland. I probably won't be able to wear this until maybe June. Yeah, probably June, when it gets the coldest it's probably going to get, June, July. So I thought, well, no rush, and I put it to one side. But absolutely fantastic pattern, really engaging, but really intuitive, really well written. Always, Hohi's patterns are always a delight to knit. And this is mohair. It is held double, so the whole thing is stranded colour work, mohair, held double, and my colours are from a kit that I brought from Fankie Grey Fibres. So Fankie Grey Fibres is one half of Grocery Girls and her daughter, and they're based in Canada. So they had a fantastic sale once, and I absolutely love watching Jody and, oh my gosh, Tracy. Thought that my brain was having a brain fart again, so that was fun. Yeah, so supporting them and grabbing some amazing colours at the same time was really important. So here we are now at almost the end of what I've been working on. My next item is also another almost finished, almost done, cast to one side because who knows why, but it is this little Sunday cardigan. And the Sunday cardigan is by Petite Knit, and this was yarn that I bought a couple of years ago. Someone was selling off some colours that obviously didn't sell very well, and I picked that up for sort of next to nothing. I think I was paying sort of maybe $5 or $6 a ball. And this is Baby Siri silk brushed alpaca. So I've only gone through four so far, and I've cropped it so it's not as long. It is in alpaca, so it's probably going to grow heaps, so I'm not really worried about it. The sleeves I'm yet to do, but I do like it looking sort of like with the little, it's kind of got little cap sleeves at the moment. I quite like that, but I think I will put longer sleeves on it. So yeah, that's where that is. This is a really easy pattern. It's really straightforward, also very intuitive. I made the Sunday sweater a couple of years ago now, and I also made it out of, well, it's a blow-in yarn I used, and it grew heaps, and probably my gauge was slightly off, and so I don't really wear it because it's massive. But yeah, so that's another thing that I've been working on, and that's nearly it. I've got my sort of car knit. So if I'm not taking the crochet blanket shawl with me, I am knitting on this little, what's going to be a headband. Again, just not working from a pattern for this one. I just am cast on 80 stitches. I've got it on 9-inch circular. This is a 2.75 9-inch Koigu. And I stuffed up. When I first did it, I knew that I had twisted my stitches. When I got halfway through, I just decided to flip it so it's got this little twist in it, because I'm going to make it into a headband, and that's why you'll see my yarn is still twisted. I'm going to fold that in half like that, and and then you fold the other one in, put it in, and then sew it together, and then it makes the twisted headband. So that's what the plan is for that one, and that lives in one of my favorite hokey bags. Yeah, and then two last things. So I'll just quickly talk through these. Nothing too exciting really. I've got some fingerless mitts. I've done one bar the thumb for my daughter in this pink deep stash. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know where this came from. Deep stash, I don't know how long I've had it for, but I am, I could probably get those done in the next day or two and they would be done. But again, it's not really cold enough, and she probably won't use them for like another 3 or 4 months. So I sort of parked them. And the headband, sorry, I should say, this was one of my single skeins that I had from Rainbows and Sprinkles. She's an Australian dyer, and it was called something like fuchsia. I don't know. Anyway, she pretty much only ever does one-off colorways. It doesn't really repeat many, so I will drop the name of everyone into the show notes anyway, so if you do want to go and check anyone out, that'll be there. And then I have, which I was making great progress on, this is a temperature blanket, and it is crochet as you go, join as you go method. So I am joining all of the little squares together. The center is the minimum temperature, and the outside is the high for the day. And then when I have a change in the month, I work out what the average between the highs and the lows, the average temperature, and then I do a solid square to denote like a change in the month. I'm basing it on 2024. So I'm not doing this temperature blanket for this year. I'm not doing it as a 2025 temperature blanket. It is based on the 2024, and that is simply because I purchased this yarn from Bendigo Woolen Mills in Australia, and it was for the 2023 year, when I thought that, I'm having a new baby, and maybe I make her a blanket based on the year that she was born, the temperatures, and then, well, as you do when you have a new baby and 3 children, you get very busy, and I put it down, and then I thought, well, actually the 2024 temperatures have a much nicer range of temperature than they did in 2023. So I decided to switch the year that I was doing, and yeah, so it goes with my top, very purple, but the girls are fighting over who gets it, so who knows who will end up with that. And then that's it. So that's it for what I am working on, what I've sort of been concentrating on anyway, because I've still got lots more WIPs, and if you go back and watch any of the other 2 episodes that I've done, probably all those WIPs are still in progress, and I probably haven't finished anything. You know, that's another intention for the year, is to clear the WIP list and stash down. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed watching. I would love it if you would subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I hope to be back here next week. My intention is to come once a week and do half an hour, 45 minutes tops. So hopefully I haven't been rabbiting on too much, and I will pop everything in the show notes down the bottom, and hopefully that helps you out if there's any patterns that you liked, or if there is any dyers. If I miss anything, just let me know, or if you want any more information, let me know, and I am going to be responsive and hopefully get back to you in a timely manner. But yeah, as far as me for now, I guess it is goodbye, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye. Have a lovely week.